Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are fine. So we are into the environment class, classroom number 15, right? And we are discussing environmental issues. So yesterday I have already covered waste management there. So today I'll start with the EIA, environmental impacts assessment. We'll go into the topic of environmental impacts assessment, and then finally we'll go to the last topic of the subject, that is climate change. So we are going to discuss global warming, climate change, and I will cover basic areas, right? Basic things which you have to know from part of climate change impacts, right? Then UNFCCC, we will discuss United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and with that context, we will also cover Kyoto Protocol, and now you know that 2015 Paris Summit. So there is a new agreement to fight climate change, that is a Paris Agreement. We'll cover that part also. And we also see what's India's initiative to fight climate change, right? So I've been telling you from day one, like this subject is a very dynamic subject. There are theory part, static part is there. Along with the static parts, there are also areas which are linked with the current aspect. When you read newspaper, magazine, right, website, so current aspect you have to connect from there. PIB, Press Information Bureau, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change reports. You have to connect a lot of areas there. That's why Vision IS has got a very clear demarcation that let the syllabus, the theory part, the static part be covered in the classroom, and then the dynamic part, current aspect, covered in the monthly current affairs and PT 365, mains 365. Same will be here in today's class also. Climate change, the basic areas we will discuss in the classroom, but again the current aspect, right, international level, national level, you will cover in your current affairs classes. So before I go into the climate change topic, let me first teach you EIA, environmental impact assessment, right? So EIA here, environmental impact assessment for any socio-economic project, mining, infrastructure, hydropower, we require clearance for that. The project has to be cleared by the central government, by the state government. So there has to be a clearance mechanism. So EIA study becomes very important in this context, right? Yesterday's handout, the last 2 pages I have given you on the EIA, right? So let us understand here. Environmental impact assessment, right? Environmental impact assessment, right? Whatever the potential impacts on environment caused because of economic activity or any kind of socio-economic projects that are evaluated, that are studied, right, under EIA process there. So what is EIA here? EIA is linked with the environmental clearance. It linked with the process of environmental clearance, what we call EC. Environmental clearance mechanism in India, right? And I have already mentioned that the process of EIA that is linked with the Environment Protection Act 1986, the legal aspect on which EIA is carried out, that is the Environment Protection Act 1986, where central government notifies the rule, right? Rules are notified. Right, there are EIA rules are there. As of now, the 3 times this changes have been proposed there. One is the EIA rules. The first time in India was in 1994. Then presently we are carrying out with the rules of 2006. This is the existing one. And then there is a proposal. There is a proposal for making changes to the existing 2006 rules by proposed 2020. This is a proposed one, right? Whereas this is the existing one. 2006 is the existing one. Whereas 1994, right, is the old one. First time it was brought there, but now no more. It is not being followed. What we are following right now is EIA rules 2006, and now the government want to bring changes through 2020. The draft has been prepared. A draft has been made here. for public consultation, the draft EIA rules have been floated there. So the act under which this is carried out, that is the Environment Protection Act 1986. Yesterday I mentioned it is an umbrella act where central government has a power to notify any kind of rules with respect to protection of environment. So EIA comes from that context. Now another thing is that EIA is basically in terms of here is based on principles of sustainable development, right? Sustainable development principle there. What do you mean by sustainable development? Where we need a socio-economic development, where there has to be socio-economic development with protection of environment, where the resources, forest, right, water bodies, land, all natural resources need to be protected, right? We need economic activities. See, today in modern society we cannot live without all amenities. We need infrastructure. We also require minerals. For that we carry out mining. So there is need is there. We have to fulfill human needs, but not at the cost of environment. We also need to protect the environment. So socio-economic development principles, socio-economic development with the protection of environment. So EIA focus on not only in terms of development of the society, right, bringing about economic growth, but also balance with the environment protection, right? So there this EIA principle is based on that, right? Then it also looks into cost and benefit analysis of a project. If a project, let's say mining project, nuclear power plant, cement factory, thermal power plant, is injurious to the health of the human beings, is harmful to the living organism, such kind of project, and it cause effect to air, water, soil, right? Then it also help us, EIA study also help us to analyze cost and benefit of such kind of project there. So here in terms of analysis, it helps in analysis of environmental costs and benefits. Environmental costs and benefits with respect to a proposed economic activity or a socio-economic project, right? So EIA looks into that kind of study looks into that. So EIA focus on this particular one. Now what is the EIA basically does? EIA in one way looks into all such impacts, right? Here analysis of impacts on environment, including human beings and living organism. All these impacts on environment and part of it are analyzed, right? That is where EIA report, and EIA report is prepared, which has all the technical detail, all the data with respect to air pollution, land pollution, water pollution, right, deforestation, effect on forest, wildlife. All these are evaluated, analyzed in the report, EIA report. And based on this report, decision making is done whether to allow the project or reject the project, whether to approve the project or reject the project, right? So that's where the EIA comes into the part of it. So first of all, I put across in a flowchart. I have put across this in a flowchart here. Now what I'll do here, I will dictate something on that, right? I have given the handout also there, but at the same time, I am putting in the flowchart here also, right? So I'll just give you the dictation part also, right? You all can see the handout. I am just I have written on this whiteboard. I have given the points there, right? If you have copied there, then I'll give you the part of dictation, right? So I'll explain, give a dictation, something I'll mark on the part of the handout also there. I'll use the whiteboard also there. Have you all copied it? Have you all copied it? All right. If you have done here, if you have copied it here, So now you can write there. Just write in your note copy. I am dictating some points. Please do write in the note copy. All right. So now you can write here. EIA is a decision making tool. EIA is a decision making tool to evaluate. EIA is a decision making tool, TOOL tool, to evaluate potential impacts, to evaluate potential impacts on environment, comma, human health and living organisms. Evaluate potential impacts on environment, comma, human health and living organisms due to a proposed economic activity, or a project, Now give a full stop there. Or a project, give a full stop there. Now continue writing the same paragraph. EIA is based on principles of sustainable development. EIA is based on principles of sustainable development, which provides environmental management plan, in bracket EMP, which provides environmental management plan, bracket EMP, to mitigate, continue writing the same sentence, to mitigate all such impacts. Right? I'll repeat the sentence. EIA is based on principles of sustainable development. EIA is based on principles of sustainable development, which provides environmental management plan, in bracket EMP, bracket closed, to mitigate all such impacts, right? To mitigate all such impacts. Now give a full stop there. Again, same paragraph, give a full stop there. All such impacts, give a full stop there. Now, third sentence in the paragraph. EIA study for environmental clearance. EIA study for environmental clearance in India. EIA study for environmental clearance in India is based on, I'll repeat again the last sentence in the paragraph. EIA study for environmental clearance of projects in India is based on the existing. I have written here this one, existing, on the existing EIA rules, comma 2006, EIA rules, comma 2006, notified under Environment Protection Act, comma 1986, notified under Environment Protection Act 1986. Give a full stop there. So I have dictated a paragraph, right? When you write answer in main exam, right, in the answer writing in the main exam, we'll see the issues also there. See what I am doing right now. First I'll teach you theory part. Okay, what is EIA and all this, right? Once we understand the EIA and the environmental clearance part, then we'll see some of the concerns, issues, and how we are going to address such issues, solutions for that. We'll cover that. So I've dictated a paragraph. Let's say in main exam, you have to write environmental clearance of thermal power plant, or let's say environmental clearance of mining project, or let's say environmental clearance of nuclear power plant. So in the beginning of the answer, in the first paragraph, you have to bring about these points. What I've just dictated in a paragraph, you have to write that, right? Even in the answer writing, you can also use flowchart, this kind of diagram, right? When you write answer in the main exam, you can always depict, illustrate important points by drawing this kind of flowchart, so that the examiner, when the examiner read your answer, get the highlight. Okay, these are the highlight you want to convey to the examiner, point wise there, right? So the paragraph which I have given. Now let's see here. I will take you to the handout which I gave yesterday, and again I'll come back to the whiteboard. So I'm going to use a number of things there: whiteboard, dictation, then also handout here, right? Let's see the handout here. Mitigate such impacts. Mitigate, M-I-T-I-G-A-T-E. Mitigate all such impacts. Now this is where I gave you yesterday, the last pages, right? After this discussion on the bioremediation part, you have this part only. Now look at what is given in the handout here, right? Then again come back to the whiteboard here. In the handout, if you look at, in the handout I have provided here, that is in terms of 3 points, like EIA can bring about 3 points here, right? What are the 3 points here? The 3 point which comes here, that is the first thing is that is the process. See what is given here. EIA is a process or study. EIA is a process or study, right? It is a process or study. Now which number one? First one is that A, prediction. Predict the effect of a proposed industrial or infrastructure project. What will be impact on air, water, land, right, pollution? To predict the effect of a proposed industrial infrastructure project on the environment, right? Second one, point number B, prevention. First is what? Prediction. Prediction of the impacts. Second is here prevents. Prevents the proposed activity or project from being approved without proper kind of a oversight or taking adverse environmental impact into account. That means there has to be proper supervision, or all the adverse impacts which will be there to the environment, that has to be taken into account. So what is second here? Prevention of damage. Any kind of a prevention of damage to the environment, that needs to be taken care of. Now what is the point number C, the third point here about the EIA process or study? It compares various alternatives. Very important point. Different types of alternatives for the project which can decrease the impact. So what is here? Comparison between various alternatives for a proposed project or economic activity. 6, to identify the one which represent the best combination, of economic and environmental cost and benefit. So what is third here? Comparison of alternatives, and wherever the viability, better economic cost and economic and environmental cost and benefit balance, that we get to understand through EIA process, right? And now you can see here what is given here. Any project requiring environmental clearance first needs to undergo screening, scoping process by regulatory authorities. Thereby a draft EIA report has to be prepared for public consultation, public hearing. Now I'll come back to this one. I've just made you understand there are 3 aspects: prediction of the impacts, how we can prevent such impacts, reduce the impacts, right, and compare various alternatives by which we can balance in terms of economic cost and benefit and environmental cost and benefit. All right. Now let's see here. I'll now come back to the whiteboard. Now let's come to the whiteboard. Right. So alternatively, it should not happen that only handout. It should also not happen that you are not able to understand them. So three things which I have just mentioned from handout here. Now what I will do here? Now look at here. When we are talking about environmental clearance in mechanism there, now what is required here? How environmental clearance in India, how the EIA study is carried out. Let me first explain that, then I'll dictate a paragraph, right? Then I'll give you dictation of paragraph. Now look at here. Environmental clearance environmental clearance mechanism. Let's understand here. There are certain type of projects which mandatory, compulsory requires EIA study. But there may be some kind of project which will not require elaborate EIA study. What is EIA study? All such impacts on air, land, water. How much air pollution will be caused? How much water pollution will be caused? How much land will get affected? All such environmental impacts, the assessment is carried out and it comes in a EIA report. A report is prepared for that particular project. Now let's look at here. What comes here? So in this mechanism where the EIA study or EIA process is recommended. So what are the stages here? The certain type of steps and stages are required. Right? Now what are the stages here? The first one, it requires screening. Screening of projects. What requires first for EIA study? We must know what type of projects are required to go for environmental clearance. I'll dictate also, don't worry, I'll give you dictation also. But whatever I'm drawing on the whiteboard, please do copy that. This will become like a mains answer writing kind of a material for you. So please do write that. So what is first stage here? Screening of projects. Screening of projects. Who will approve the project? Will the project be approved by central government or by a state authority? What type of project requires elaborate EIA study to be conducted? Whether it's a mining or a hydropower project or national highway or any kind of such project. So then elaborate study, and which do not require such a detailed study. Screening of project. Now after screening of projects, right here, what is done here is the categorization of project is there. In this case, there are categorization of projects. Based on scale of impact. There is certain project which has got huge impact, high impact on the environment. Let's say nuclear power plant will have a lots of impact on the environment. We have discussed yesterday radiation, nuclear waste and all this will come there, uranium mining and all this one. But there may be some small scale project, very small level project which may not have more impact on the environment. So depending on the impacts on the environment, right, projects are classified. So what I have written here, categorization of project based on potential impacts. Right? That is the first stage which requires in a EIA study. We must filter out, know the projects, the nature of the project. Right? Then what comes here, the next one, what comes is scoping. Now what do you mean by scoping? Let's understand the meaning of the term scoping. Scoping refers to all such impacts which have to be studied and an EIA report has to be prepared. Collection of baseline data. It requires terms of reference. So what is scoping here? Scoping refers to preparation of, there's something called terms of reference. On what references you will do the study? Let's say, for example, a mining project. Just take example. There's a mining project and there is a mining site, coal mining. Now for that particular coal mining on that area, right, the data which you will require, air pollution, land pollution, whatever data is there, you need to have terms of reference for study. What study you are going to carry out, there has to be some kind of a guidelines. That is called TOR, terms of reference. So preparation of terms of reference, TOR, to carry out studies, to carry out EIA study, right? So one requires what need to be studied. Different types of projects will have different terms of condition. Mining project will have different type of impacts. A road, national highway will have a different types of impact. Port and harbor, right, will have different types of impact. Hydropower project will have different types of impacts. Thermal power station will have different types of impacts. So what impacts are there? Their studies. You have to first create a framework, and that framework is called TOR, terms of reference. So what is here? Preparation of terms of references to carry out EIA study for the proposed project, right? So that is a scoping. Now based on the TOR, data will be collected. So here, collection of baseline data, collection of, there will be some kind of standard baseline data, let's say air pollution, water pollution, any kind of such kind of a baseline data will be collected. Basis of this data, what will be done there? EIA report. There will be a preparation of a report, EIA report. So there will be EIA report. This EIA report has to be prepared. Now this EIA report which is prepared based on the study of the impact area, after collecting the baseline data and the study of in that impact area, an EIA report is written. Now this report goes for public hearing. This report is made public. Anybody affected by the project, local communities, local people affected by the project, they can take a copy of EIA, can go through the impacts, and there will be a Jan Sunwai, public hearing. So this EIA report, the next thing what comes here, that is called as a public hearing. What is called as a public consultation. In Hindi it is called Jan Sunwai. There is a public hearing on the EIA report, right? So that is here a public consultation. The local people who will be affected by the project, they are invited to be consulted on the EIA report which is prepared. So there is a public consultation on prepared EIA report. Right? Now after public hearing, after Jan Sunwai, after public consultation, right, the report and all the outcomes of the public hearing go to a review committee. It goes to where? A review committee, an appraisal committee, who takes the appraisal, who review the entire EIA report. They are the experts. They are the experts of the project who will review each and every aspect of the report and then decide whether to allow or not to allow the project, whether to approve or not to approve the project. right? So what comes here after public hearing, public consultation? The next part what comes here, that is a appraisal. Appraisal and decision making. There is a process of decision making whether the project will be approved or will be rejected. So there will be a review of the entire EIA report along with the outcome of the public hearing. Appraisal, review. There will be expert appraisal committee who will review the EIA report and all such outcome documents of the public hearing, and based on that they will take a decision whether to allow or reject the project, right? So this is the flow chart which I have given, the process of clearance, how the clearance mechanism work, right? I'll give you dictation part also, but first I made you understand here. You have to understand what exactly the mechanism. So please copy this, and if you have any doubt, please ask me. If you are not able to understand this flow chart, you can definitely ask me a question. I'll make you understand, and then I'll go through it. I'm going a stepwise manner. I'm going through a stepwise manner there. It's a very important topic I'm covering in today's class. Right? Is it clear the diagram here? For environmental clearance in India, EIA study which is required. So first thing is screening of projects, categorization of projects based on potential impact on the environment, health, human health and other living organisms. Scoping. What is scoping? Preparation of terms of reference to carry out EIA study, collection of data, baseline data, writing EIA report, then public hearing, and then review and decision making. Right? This general flow of the entire EIA process in the country. Right? The general flow is there. Any doubt you have? Have you all written this one? Have you all copied it? Then I'll come to the dictation part. Then I'll give you a dictation in paragraph. But first you have to write it down. Is an important topic for main exam. EIA will be a question on the main exam. There will be direct question on the EIA mechanism. At the same time, it will be project based. There is a thermal power plant or any kind of project based EIA study can be asked. Right? Have you all copied it? Anything you are not able to understand? All right, guys. So let me move on there. So let me now come across. So what I'm now going to cover here. See, existing EIA mechanism is based on EIA rules 2006, which we are giving the clearance of the project. So now, if you look at as per existing, I'll do the comparison with all the EIA rules also there. But first of all, let's understand that as per existing EIA rules 2006, right, there are 4 stages of environmental clearance. In India. The 4 stages are there. What I'm writing here. The first stage is called screening. Second stage is called scoping. Third stage is called public consultation. and the fourth last stage is the appraisal. This is as per the existing one. Though Government of India has brought amendment, want to amend this existing 2006 rules with a new draft. We will discuss the highlight of the draft, but this is first what is going through in the country right from 2006 onward. So it has got 4 stages: screening, scoping, public consultation and appraisal. Right? If you don't have any doubt, then I can dictate the class notes. I can dictate the notes if you don't have any doubt here. No doubt? Shall I dictate the notes? Have you all copied it? Have you all copied these points? Please respond fast so that I can move fast with the class and dictate the points also there, right? All right, guys. So I think you all have copied this one. So let me dictate here. Now, right here. EC. What is EC? Involuntary clearance. So right here. EC in India. EC in India is carried out under 4 stages. Is carried out under 4 stages. Carried out under 4 stages. Dash number 1, that is dash number 1, screening, dash number 1, screening. Now write a paragraph on that. Number 1 screening, now write a paragraph there. Now write a paragraph here. Now write this paragraph, just give number 1 screening, now write a small paragraph on screening. Now write this. In this stage, projects are categorized. In this stage, projects are categorized into category A and category B projects. I repeat the sentence. So number 1 screening, then you write in a small paragraph. Now I am dictating the paragraph here. Under this stage, projects are categorized as category A and category B projects. Category A and category B, capital A and capital B, category A and category B projects. Give a full stop there. Same paragraph, keep on writing the same paragraph. Category A projects are cleared by, right there, category A projects are cleared by the central EIA authority. Cleared by the central EIA, all in caps, Central EIA Authority, in bracket CEIAA, bracket closed. I repeat again the second sentence in this paragraph. Category A projects are cleared by the Central EIA Authority, in the bracket CEIAA, bracket closed, whereas category B projects are cleared by, category B projects are cleared by the state EIA authority, in bracket SEIAA, bracket close, give a full stop. Whereas category B projects are cleared by the state EIA authority, bracket SEIAA, bracket close, give a full stop. Same paragraph. Just keep on writing the same paragraph. Category B projects are further subdivided. Category B projects are further subdivided into B1, B, capital B, subscript 1, into B1 and B2 projects. Category B projects are further subdivided into B1 and B2 projects. Now again give a full stop there. B1 and B2 projects, give a full stop. Now continue writing same paragraph. Category B1 projects requires EIA study, requires detailed EIA study. Category B1 projects require detailed EIA study, requires detailed EIA study, comma, whereas category B2 project, category B1 project requires detailed EIA study, comma, whereas category B2 projects are exempted. Category B2 projects are exempted from detailed EIA study, are exempted from detailed EIA study, or EIA. You can simply write are exempted from EIA. Right, are exempted from EIA. Give full stop there. Right, give full stop there. Exempted from EIA. Category B2 projects are exempted from this cumbersome process, are exempted from the detailed EIA study or EIA. So what requires at the state level? See, remember that. So at the national level, category A projects. Now what are category A projects? Big projects like thermal, let's say large river valley project, right? Big project. Nuclear power plant, very big project. Port and harbor, oil refinery. These are large size projects. They are called category A projects, and they will be cleared by the central government. There is a body called CEIA, which I have dictated right now. Category B projects are cleared by the state authority, state EIA authority. And again at the state level, cement plant, thermal power plant, whatever, mining and based on lease area, whatever may be that, they are again subdivided into B1 and B2. B1 projects require complete detailed EIA study. B2 are exempted from such cumbersome process. Right? So where you require screening? All big projects, category A projects, will go to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change for clearance. So where you require to filter out whether EIA study is required or not? B1 and B2. So screening is required at category B level. Now you may ask me a question that how would we know which projects are category A, which projects are B1, which projects are B2? That is given in the rules. This EIA rules. There is a schedule, list of the projects. Right? It might come to your mind okay, how one will decide which project is A or B1 or B2. So there is already a schedule or list of projects given under the EIA rules. Government can add or remove from the list of projects which are A or B1 or B2 under the EIA rules. When the government has a gadget notification, so it clearly mention out in the notification which type of projects will be A, which will be B1, which will be B2. And government can remove and government can add in those kind of lists. Correct? So that is again from the rules comes into that. Category A, central government. Category B1, state government. So where we have to filter out, where we have to screen out between B1 and B2. Screening is required for B1 and B2. Right, this is what I have given here. The first stage comes screening here. Right. So same paragraph, just write in the same paragraph. Same paragraph right there. Screening is required for same paragraph. See, I have given you that number one screening and I have dictated paragraph. In that last sentence of this paragraph, you can write this. Screening is required for category B projects only. Screening is required for category B projects only. Screening is required for category B projects only. Clear? Screening is required for category B projects only. Right? And where this list is given? Under the rules. Clear everyone? Alright. Now I am coming to number 2. Now write number 2. Scoping. What is number 2? Scoping. SCOPING. Now I am dictating that. Please write there. Number 2, scoping. Now write a paragraph. Give a heading number 2, scoping. Now write a small paragraph. Now write this here. Under this stage, a TOR. I've already written here the word TOR, terms of reference. Under this stage, TOR is prepared and baseline data. Under this stage, TOR is prepared and baseline data is collected. Baseline data is collected to write, 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 likhna. Baseline data is collected to write an EIA report. Baseline data is collected to write an EIA report. An EIA report. Right? Write an EIA report. Okay, full stop there. EIA report is a very, very important point I am dictating right now. EIA report is prepared. EIA report is prepared by a third party. EIA report is prepared by the third party consultant. By the third party consultant. EIA report is prepared by the third party consultant. Give a stop there. Third party consultant. Right? Prepared by third party consultant, paid by, right? Hired, or you can write HIRED. 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 Hired and paid. PAID. Hired and paid by the project developer. Hired and paid by the project developer. Give a stop. I'll repeat the sentence. The EIA report is prepared by third party consultant, hired, HIRED, and paid, PAID, paid by the project developer. Give a stop there. So terms of reference, the project developer who prepares the scoping study, the data is collected, EIA report is written. The who prepares the report? An expert consultant, not the company. Company or the project developer will hire, take the service and pay the consultant, and the consultant will prepare based on the data, will write a report, what is called EIA report, right? That is done by an expert consultant, and these consultants are certified consultants. They are certified by the Government of India. They are certified by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. They are certified consultants who prepare the report, and they get paid for writing the report by the company, project developer, for which the project is there. This is called as a scoping. This is called as a scoping, right? This is a very, very important thing I am dictating in the classroom. Then you will be able to make the comparison, right? Third, now write number 3. Now there, write number 3. Number third, public consultation. What do you have to write? Public consultation. Number 3, public consultation. Right? Public consultation. Now write a paragraph. I'm again dictating here. Now write a paragraph here. Number 3, public consultation. Now write a paragraph. Right. Under this stage, a public hearing. Under this stage, a public hearing is organized. Under this stage, a public hearing is organized under the supervision. A public hearing is organized under the supervision of SPCB. What is SPCB? State Pollution Control Board. Is organized. A public hearing is organized under the supervision of SPCB, State Pollution Control Board, right, for states, or CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, for union territories. I repeat the sentence. Under this stage, a public hearing is organized under the supervision of SPCB, State Pollution Control Board, for states, or CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, for union territories, duties. Give stop there. Right. Local communities, right, same paragraph there. Local communities are invited. Local communities affected by the project. Let me write also that. Local communities affected by the project are invited for consultation. Local communities affected by the project are invited for consultation. Local communities affected by the project are invited for consultation. Now give a full stop there. Right. Give a full stop there. Now write this. Video recording of the public hearing process. Video recording, right? Video recording of public hearing process and written, WRITTEN, and written opinion of local communities. Written opinions of local communities are taken. TAKEN. Here first of all, I repeat this sentence. A video recording of the public hearing and written public opinions of local communities are taken. Give first of all. So when there is a gathering, all this are recorded by video. And who supervised the public hearing? The representative of State Pollution Control Board for states and CPCB officer for union territories. And entire discussion, consultation are recorded, video recorded. And the people who come there, there's also opinion also there. So you will come to issues part. I know that many of you may be thinking right now that real scenario, practical aspect of that. I'm coming to that one. First I'm teaching you theory part. Let's first understand theory. Then we'll see issues and concerns. Correct? So first understand what is EIA. Public hearing also has a lot of problems. We'll come to those problems. But first you understand that. Right? And this recording is done. Written public opinion is taken. Third one, that is the public consultation. Now write number 4. Let me give you the last paragraph dictation. Number 4, appraisal. What is the number 4? Appraisal. 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 Now write a paragraph. Appraisal. Now write a paragraph. I'll dictate the appraisal. Write a paragraph there. Now write in a paragraph there. Under this stage, EIA report. Under this stage, EIA report with the public hearing documents. EIA report with public hearing documents. Under this stage, EIA report with public hearing documents are reviewed, REVIEWED, are reviewed by an expert appraisal committee. Are reviewed by an expert appraisal committee, EAC. Reviewed by an expert appraisal committee, EAC. Right? Give us subject, expert appraisal committee. Right? Now this EAC will depend on whether the project is category A or category B1, whether it's central level or a state level. So reviewed by an expert appraisal committee, EAC. Give us stop there. Project can be approved or rejected. Project can be approved, APPROVED, approved or rejected at this stage. Project can be approved or rejected at this stage. Right? You have to stop there. Approved or rejected at this stage. Right? After approval, the project developer has to submit. Project developer. Who is the project developer? The company for which the project is there. Project developer has to submit a progress report. Project developer has to submit, SUBMIT, submit a progress report every 6 months. Has to submit a progress report every 6 months. Give us stop there. See, an expert appraisal committee who will review the report and all the findings and all, public hearing. They will allow or reject. Let's say if it is allowed, then the project developer under this 2006 rules has to submit a progress report of the project. How much is air pollution? How much is the, meeting the compliance? All alternatives to mitigate the impacts have been fulfilled or not. Environmental management plan has been fulfilled or not. So the project developer has to submit every 6 months the progress report. Now what I dictated right now, there's all 4 stages. This is based on 2006. EIA rules 2006. But now government wants to make amendment, wants to make changes to the existing this 4 stages and the existing EIA rules. In the mains answer, when you write mains answer, your mains answer should always backed by government rules. Like yesterday also I mentioned hazardous waste management rule, biomedical waste management rule, e-waste management, same way. For EIA, for environmental clearance in India and EIA, you have to always back with the government rules and policies and programs. Right? We'll see the issues and problems. But first let's understand what is the environmental clearance process in India. Right? So now I'll come to the handout. Now I'm coming to the handout part. Alright? Let's come to the handout here. And let me see if you have a doubt. Alright guys. So there is a doubt also there. Let me address the doubt. Then I'll come to handout. So Shubham Mandora. Right? Shubham has sent a doubt to the batch coordinator. Let me first read out the doubt asked by the student and then I'll give the answer and then we'll come to handout. Do government projects also need EIA approval? Yes. Whether the projects are government projects or is a private company. Right? As per EIA rules, this clearly list out of the projects. I'll give you example. NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation, is a PSU, government PSU, which operate thermal power plants. So NTPC also has to do EIA study for thermal power station set up by NTPC. Now let's understand here. Jindal, Jindal, Navin Jindal, and they also set up thermal power plant. Tata Power, Tata company, they also thermal power station. So Ambani or Tata or Adani or let's say Jindal, they are the private companies and they also into power sector. They also set up the thermal power station. So they have to also do it. Plus there's a government entity, NTPC. I'll give you another example. Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, NPCIL. We have a government body under DAE, Department of Atomic Energy, which is the department to deal with nuclear power program in the country. And under DAE we have a public sector company called NPCIL, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited. So all our nuclear reactors, Kudankulam, Kalpakkam, Rawatbhata, Trombay, Tarapur, all the reactors are operated by NPCIL. So NPCIL, when NPCIL is going to commission a new reactor, so again the EIA study is required. So government project also there. I've given you examples. Now second part of Shubham question is that what is time frame of EIA approval? Normally it goes for around 180 days. If we go for a retailed EIA study, that goes around 165 days to 180 days. Again there is a issue. What is issue here? Sometimes maybe public hearing. There may be a problem during the public hearing. The project may be stalled. The project may be delayed. It may go up to 1 year. And delay in the project approval can affect the economic growth of the country. Right? So there are, balance, crisscross. Approval of the project to have economic growth, at the same time environment protection. So the number of environmental groups are there, NGOs are there who led protest against the project. At the same time, there are also, the government also want the approval fast. So normally it goes around 180 days or something. But again it is 180 days is also considered to be a long time, right? Sometimes there will be in between obstacles, hindrances. which may delay the project. Correct? So approval there. How EIA and development is balanced? EIA and development is balanced because EIA report clearly specify level of pollution. What EIA report specifies? EIA report is a technical report, and in the technical report it is clearly mentioned how much will be gaseous pollutant, how much will be particulate matter, how much will be the water pollution, how much the land will get affected, how much agriculture will get affected, how much forest will be damaged. All these are given in the EIA report. So based on the impacts on air, water, land, wildlife, forest, all this kind of impacts. So EIA suggests measures to reduce the impacts, what we call mitigate the impacts. There is an environmental management plan, EMP, by which the damage to the environment, impacts to the environment can be reduced by having such alternatives, right, which will reduce the air pollution, land pollution, water pollution. So EIA study becomes very, very important. First is to understand what are the impacts. Once we know the impact, how can we reduce the impacts? What are the alternatives? So that's what called balance. That we need project, we identify all the impacts, and also to manage the project, we suggest the measures to reduce the impacts. So it creates a balance. Right? Now Jyoti, the another question with Jyoti. What are the example of B2 project? Small type of like MSME, micro, small, medium enterprise. Handloom, sometimes handloom, power loom, handloom, micro sector, MSME, small projects. They are the B2, right? B2 project there, correct? Is it clear here, everyone? So whatever doubts you have, please send to your batch coordinator. I am seeing your doubts here. In front of me there is a screen. I can see your doubt and can reply your doubts, right? But whatever I am writing on the whiteboard, please do write that. Whatever I am dictating, please do write that. All right? I hope it is clear to everyone. Now I'll come to the handout, right? Now I'm coming to the handout part of it. Now if you see the handout here, let me now discuss the handout. This handout, if you see here, then I'll come back to the again whiteboard here. We'll see the issues and problems of EIA. Now let's look at here. What is here there? What I've already dictated here. This part I've already dictated in the classroom, right? I've already dictated to you. Now look at here. This one. Under the existing 2006 rules, right? Projects are categorized into category A and B, right? Category A project undergo process of EIA, central government. Category B projects are further divided into B1 and B2, right, on the basis of scope and potential impacts. Only the C here, only the project under B2 are exempted from EIA or the cumbersome process there. B2 is exempted, but for B1 you need to do the EIA study, right? Now you can see here comparison, comparative analysis of the EIA rules. 3 rules here. So let us understand here. The first was 1994, then 2006, what we have discussed, and then 2020, this is a proposed one. This is a proposed draft is there. Right? A lot of debate has happened on this particular draft. Now let's look at here. I'll go through one by one. It's a period of public consultation. Period of public consultation, time period of public consultation. The 1994, it was 1 month. Within 1 month, 30 days, public consultation has to be over. Now existing one, what we have discussed, EIA rules 2006, you have 1.5 months, right? 1.5 months, 45 days. Now proposed one. Now government has proposed 40 days. Government has now, under the EIA, this 2020 has proposed for 40 days, 5 days less than the 2006. Now look at here, another one. Now see, monitoring period, right? Where the monitoring period for all the impacts. Now 1994, it was done by the authorities, the project authorities, to monitor the projects for compliance within environmental norms within 6 months, every 6 months. And under 2006, again every 6 months, that progress report for compliance has to be submitted by the project developer after the approval. Now 2020 proposed one. Now see the difference here. Here you have 5 days less for public consultation. Now see here, the monitoring period has been relaxed to 1 year. Six months more here as compared to 2006, 6 months more time given to submit progress report. That means earlier every 6 months the progress report has to be sent, but now the company can have 6 months extra time under the proposed draft. That means now there may be more damage to the environment. Let's say the damage caused to the environment is more, and that will be reported after 1 year. So that now here issue is there whether 6 months more harm to the environment can be there because of this one, right? Then now you can see here next one here, environmental clearance process, right? EC. Right? Now see here, what about 1994? Under 1994, the responsibility to provide environmental clearance for the project was on the central government, and there was no division of category of project mentioned scheduled 1. That means there was no category A or B. This is 1994. In 1994 rules, there was no categorization. There was no categorization. Right? There was no categorization. Right? No division B1, B2, no division was there. Correct? But then again 2006, this is 2006. Under 2006, see here, power has been decentralized. Central government, state government to decide on the projects, right? And here it is shared between the central government and the state government to approve or reject a project. Now project in schedule 1, right, divided into 2 categories. Category A, national level review. Category B, state level review. And then there is a body has been formed, national states level environmental impact assessment authority has been formed to do this task. This 2006. Now 2020 proposed one, proposed draft here. Now see here, the responsibility to provide environmental clearance for project was divided between central and state government as before. So again same as this part is same as 2006. Again here same as that. The category of the project is A, B1, B2. Right? Again the same as 2006. Right? There is no difference between 2006 and 2020. Now if you look at here this one, the clearance process, EC process. Now under 1994, the process was this one. This is 1984 rules. Now it has expired, right? What was there? Screening, public hearing, then obtaining NOC, no objection certificate from Central State Pollution Control Board, evaluation of application, recommendation. That means no scoping. screening, public hearing, obtaining NOC from State Pollution Control Board, evaluation application, recommendation. And that was completed. How many days? 3 months. The entire EIA study and process was completed in 3 months. This I am talking about 1994 rules. 1994. Now look at 2006. 2006 rules. If you look at 2006 rules, EIA rules, what is given here? 4 stage. What we have discussed in the classroom, and I have given you class notes. Screening, scoping, public hearing, and appraisal. I have given you dictation of the notes, and this is the existing one, present one. Present one is this. Now see here, category A projects, right? Compulsorily undergo environmental clearance, and there is no screening process for it. Screening is done for category B1 and B2 projects. I have already given you dictation. मैंने आपको dictate कर दिया है, right? So now see, category B projects, right, undergo screening, whether it's B1 or B2, to determine whether they belong to category B1 or B2. And category B2 is exempted from EIA. Now see what is the proposal. Now I am coming to proposed one. Under the proposed draft EIA here 2020. Now this is the change in the rule. Proposed draft. Now in 2020, what has been now proposed? For category A and B1 projects, how many stages will be there? 5 stages. That means no screening. Here, there is no screening. So there are 5 stages, no screening. Now it will start from where? Scoping. What is scoping here? Terms of reference, baseline data collection. Second is preparing the draft EIA report, draft report. Then public consultation, then preparation of final report, and the last appraisal. So what is the stage here? Scoping. Now based on this, draft EIA report, a rough EIA report will be prepared. Then draft EIA report will go for public hearing. After public hearing, final report will be prepared. For that particular project, there will final EIA report, and then there will be review, appraisal. Did you understand? Under the proposed 2020 rules, first will be the scoping. Draft, rough EIA report will be draft. Based on draft, there will be public hearing. And then on the public hearing, there will be again changes suggested will be incorporated. Then the final EIA report will be written. And then will be appraisal, approval or rejection for category A or B1 project. Now see here, category B2 projects. Category B2 project which require only review, only appraisal. Now have to place before the appraisal committee, which are, now see here, preparation of the appraisal of the environmental management plan, EMP. Then there will be verification of its completeness by the authority appointed, and then there will be grant or rejection of the clearance. So for category B2 here, there will be preparation of EMP, environmental management plan. That will be reviewed by state authority, and then finally grant or rejection. So category B2 which don't require appraisal would only have to follow last 2 steps. What are last 2 steps? Verification of its completeness, EMP report, and approval rejection. This is the proposed one. Now you can see the last one here. Provision for appeal against the prior environmental clearance. What is prior environmental clearance? That before giving the clearance, the government may approve the project to start. What is prior in order to come? Let's understand here. What is a prior in order clearance? Before EIA study, project can be allowed. After EIA study, if there is a problem, then can be rejected. Now, it doesn't make any sense. Does it make any sense? आपने प्रोजेक्ट को स्टार्ट करा दिया, प्रायर इसी आपने दे दिया, और बाद में बोलते हैं अब EIA रिपोर्ट जमा करो, अभी बोलेंगे कि नहीं अभी ये प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट हो चुका है तो रिजेक्ट करने की कोई बात नहीं है. This is what the government of India wants now. Prior inverted clearance means before EIA study, that project can be allowed there, can allowed to start. So under 1994 it was not applicable. Under 2006 again present one not applicable. But again 2020 this this proposed one, there can be an appeal can be made against such kind of prior EC to the NGT. Appeal against prior EC to NGT, National Green Tribunal, which can be rejected by NGT. So I have given you this comparative chart. This comparative chart is very, very important. I have zoomed out in my Apple iPad to explain you all these areas. This is the present one. Right? And the present one I have given you the dictation part also. Clear? So what I'll do here, I'll come to concerns there. What are concerns and all this part. Right, we'll see here. So I've already explained here all these stages there. Now this is for 2006. So I've clearly given 2006 rules. Right? 2006 rules I have given there. Alright guys, so let me now clean the whiteboard. Let me clean the whiteboard here. I hope you all are copying this. If you are not copying it, whenever you are having the recorded video, please this point you can stop and can copy this. What I dictated, that is the present EIA rules 2006. Now there is a proposal to change, and that I have given you the handout. But again I will make you that in your current affairs class, this 2020 draft EIA will definitely be discussed. Your current affairs teacher will definitely discuss 2020 proposed EIA change. But at least you have the background knowledge what I have discussed on the class in the classroom and dictated the points. Now let's look at what are the concerns. Concerns, issues and problems with respect to inverter clearance in India. In the mains answer, sometimes you have to critically analyze. You have to do the critical analysis of the challenges, issues, problems faced in EIA or inverter clearance in India. You may be asked to write EIA process for a given project or a general point of view. But again, you have to critically analyze the issues and problems. So let us now go to the some of the issues and problems. First one, EIA is a technical report. It covers the data on air pollution, land pollution, water pollution, forest type of trees and species, wildlife species. A common layman, a villager, will not be able to understand technical data. A villager is not an engineer. Right? Gaon walo. Gaon walo. So gaon wale, they are not engineers. I am not saying that Nowadays, gaon wala also be is an engineer. I am saying general public who will be impacted by the project, right? So what is the one aspect here? Technical nature of the EIA report. Right? It is too technical. ppm, parts per million, carbon dioxide gas, sulfur dioxide gas, NOx gas, this and that. गांव वाला, ये क्या है भैया? ये रिपोर्ट में क्या लिखा हुआ है? राइट, बुझे न पाए, समझ में ना आए. Right, a common man will not understand what is parts per million, what is BOD. Right, will they understand that? And full of all data after data, table after table. Boilers, this one, all data. So that will not make sense to people who are impacted by the project. So here what happens? Lack of comprehensiveness. Lack of comprehensiveness, right? So a common man will not be able to understand. The people who are affected by the project will not be able to understand. Second, who prepared the report? Consultant. So project developer and consultant, EIA consultant. Nexus. Data. All the data which comes in the EIA report. Who writes the EIA report? Consultant. And who pay to the consultant? The company. The project developer company pays to the consultant. So fiduciary relationship. Company can say, देखो थोड़ा डेटा ऐसा ऐसा करना कि अप्रूवल हो जाए. That can be another one. The nexus between consultant and this. It has happened with many projects in India. That's what I'm giving the problems areas. Then again, what comes third one? Third comes here, that is in terms of delay in the project. Bureaucratic hurdle. The file moves to the table. Babu. In future you want to become Babu, right? In अंग्रेज के समय में बाबू लोग बोलते थे. अब वो गया बाबू डॉम has gone. Today's IAS officer, a collector, gone are the days of the बाबू डॉम. बाबू अभी भी है ना सरकारी दफ्तर, सरकारी दफ्तर, पेपर, Misra ji and all this, all I'm not talking about any surname or something, but says that आपने टीवी सीरियल वगैरह में देखा होगा, वजन डालिए वजन, right? What is वजन? पैसा, corruption. So again bureaucratic hurdle. What is called red tapeism. Right? It's not about any kind of part of, but just I'm talking about a TV serial where such kind of things are said and the name of the character given there, right? So here red tapeism, delay, then delay in approval, sometimes the delay in the appraisal process there, the expert appraisal committee was formed by the central government, state government. Then again here, right, you know that if the project is a Adani, Ambani, BJP, and when there is Jindal and that, Congress. Don't write in main answer Congress and BJP. Don't write that. You don't have to show your political, inclination. I'm just trying to make you that there is sometimes political interference. When you are writing main answer, your language has to be very sophisticated. right? It should not express your inner khulbulahat, right? You have to use some proper language. What is proper language here? The proper language is this one. Political interference. Right? Then comes here what? Issues in public hearing process. Issues in public hearing. Sometimes there is a violence, मारपीट हो जाता है, जन सुनवाई, people may become violent. See, in our India, you know that we are a democratic country, right? Prajatantra. Praja. What happened before election? Paisa. Batli, daru, daru, khamba, right? Sari, money. So people are attracted to do the voting. I'm just talking about voting scenario. Or there may be muscle power. जाके वोट देना, समझा? You know that this is what happens in election time. You know, same. It can happen in public hearing. What can happen in public hearing process? In public hearing process, the company may give some kind of incentive. The people will become favor of the project. Then, you know, NGOs are also there, non-government organization, Greenpeace Foundation, so many such NGOs are there. They will go to the villagers. Look, this EIA report, you'll get cancer. The people are frightened. And then they protest the project. There are a lot of agitation, protest against the project. Like there was a huge protest for Kudankulam project, nuclear power plant in Tamil Nadu. So here agitation, there's sometimes agitation and protest by local people there, local communities. That may again further derail or delay the process of EIA. Right? You can write so many points. In the mains answer writing, you can write so many points there with respect to this point. Right? But again, way forward, suggestion. How we are going to solve such problems. I have written few of the points. You can add more points into that. You can add more points into this. Please write this. Please write this. You can write more points. I have written 6 points, but you can write yourself many points there. Right? You can write so many points there. Right? You can write so many points here. Right? Have you copied it? I'll come to the way forward. There is a song by Indian Ocean. You know Indian Ocean band? A rock band, Indian rock band. Kandisa, the first album. There's a song, folk song. Hille le jagjor duniya, hille le jagjor, hille le jagjor duniya, hille le jagjor. Janta ki chale paltaniya, jile re jat, hille le jag. Same thing. There is a lead singer. If you are a lover of music, if you love music, the rock band Indian Ocean, the first album, Kandisa. The people, democracy, Prajatantra, democracy. Right? And what is happening with democracy, you know that. Twitter, right? People getting to jail, all this one. Involuntaries are killed, murdered, right? This is what our Prajatantra is all about, right? Correct? So, now let's come to this one. The next one here, solution. Now, what are the solution part of it? So, if you have to suggest way forward, so what is solution here? the way forward or suggestion to solve the problem. What can be the problem here suggestion? There must be e-portal for inverter clearance, right? If we have to decrease the delay in the approval project, so how we can can make the process fast by making a portal. So there is a portal already that is called Parivesh. There is a portal where a company can file EIA application, can monitor the progress of the EIA application. So there is a website of the Government of India called as a Parivesh, that is for inverter clearance there. Then here, like here, preparation. What can be another suggestion here? Preparation of comprehensive with all the impact which people can understand. Comprehensive EIA report, a separate EIA report in regional languages. Even you can also write here regional languages. In regional languages for local community to understand. Local communities can understand. One can prepare what are the main findings of the report. What are the main findings of the report on the impacts local people, local communities can understand if it is there in a comprehensive summary report is given. And again in the translated into regional language, Tamil, Telugu, whatever the regional languages are there. So that will make the people understand what are the impacts of the project on the environment. Then what comes third one? Third here is that this one, certification of consultant, certification of EIA consultant, and those EIA consultant who are involved in wrongdoing, they should be blacklisted. Blacklisting of EIA consultant if they make wrong data, if they prepare wrong data, right? They have to be blacklisted for any kind of outcome, wrong data mentioned in the EIA report. So here blacklisting of EIA consultant for wrongdoing. So what is there here? Checks and balance. We can have checks and balance, control, checks and balance mechanism, right? Then what comes, you can write here that here again people's participation. Let there be holistic participation here. So here participation of all stakeholders in decision making process. NGO, non-government organization. See, appraisal, review is done closed door. Review is carried out closed door. And they are the expert who are nominated by the central government or state government, EAC, expert appraisal committee. Why not in that kind of EAC there can be representative of the people? जन प्रतिनिधि भी उसमें हो. There must be representative of NGO, non-government organizations, part of the EAC. So again, to make a process more inclusive, power has gone. Light चला गया है. Just wait. Don't worry. Just wait. Power will come back. In my housing society, there's already a power backup. So now it's just in a minute the power will come back. I'm using inverter. I'm using inverter and all, so it will remain there. Just hold on for some time. Just 1 second. So it has come now. The power has come now. Alright guys. So what I'm saying here is that you can write more points into that. I am giving few of the suggested points which you can write in your answer writing. So what I've written here, participation of a representative from NGO, from people's participation in the appraisal process. Then again, you can write here, we can have a reduced time frame for approval of the project there. Political interference has to be minimized, making the process more transparent. Transparency in appraisal process. There should not be any political interference. Alright. So you can write many points. In the mains answer writing, you can write a lot of points there. Alright guys. So I have covered here EIA. Right. You can write all these points. I have covered the EIA. Right. You can write these points there. You can also yourself can also add points in the answer writing part of it. I am giving some up from my own side, but you can also place there. Right. So there are certain hurdles and problems in terms of EIA and the EC process in India. Right. So I am done with EIA. I will now go to climate change. I will now come to the topic of global warming and climate change. Our next topic will be global warming and climate change. Shall I clean the whiteboard so that we can start the global warming climate change topic? Alright, so I'll clean the whiteboard. So now let's come to the part of global warming and climate change topic. And please keep on writing from the whiteboard. Whatever I'll teach on the whiteboard, please do write from the whiteboard here. Right? I'll keep on writing the points. Please do copy that. So here, why I've dictated the notes? Because EIA is a mains topic. You must have something to fall back. But now whatever I write here, please do write that. So let us now come to the topic of climate change. Environmental issues with respect to climate change, global warming and climate change aspect of that. Right, let's now understand climate change here. So let me go one by one. The first one is that, first term what to come across, greenhouse effect. What is first word here? Greenhouse effect. Now what is greenhouse effect? Greenhouse effect is a trapping of outgoing. So here it refers to, please write this one, it refers to trapping of heat of outgoing long wavelength infrared radiation by greenhouse gases present in atmosphere. The blanket of greenhouse gases which is present.
Human activities, from pollution to overpopulation, are driving up the Earth's temperature and fundamentally changing the world around us. The main cause is a phenomenon known as the greenhouse effect. Gases in the atmosphere, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons, let the sun's light in, but keep some of the heat from escaping, like the glass walls of a greenhouse. The more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the more heat gets trapped, strengthening the greenhouse effect and increasing the Earth's temperature. Human activities, like the burning of fossil fuels, have increased the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere by more than a third since the Industrial Revolution. The rapid increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere has warmed the planet at an alarming rate. While Earth's climate has fluctuated in the past, atmospheric carbon dioxide hasn't reached today's levels in hundreds of thousands of years. Climate change has consequences for our oceans, our weather, our food sources, and our health. Ice sheets, such as Greenland and Antarctica, are melting. The extra water that was once held in glaciers causes sea levels to rise and spills out of the oceans, flooding coastal regions. Warmer temperatures also make weather more extreme. This means not only more intense major storms, floods, and heavy snowfall, but also longer and more frequent droughts. These changes in weather pose challenges. Growing crops becomes more difficult. The areas where plants and animals can live shift, and water supplies are diminished. In addition to creating new agricultural challenges, climate change can directly affect people's physical health. In urban areas, the warmer atmosphere creates an environment that traps and increases the amount of smog. This is because smog contains ozone particles, which increase rapidly at higher temperatures. Exposure to higher levels of smog can cause health problems such as asthma, heart disease, and lung cancer. While the rapid rate of climate change is caused by humans, humans are also the ones who can combat it. If we work to replace fossil fuels with renewable energy sources like solar and wind, which don't produce greenhouse gas emissions, we might still be able to prevent some of the worst effects of climate change.
Alright guys, since there was a technical problem, the video was paused and stuck, so that's what I took a break, and then I played this video documentary for you to understand what is greenhouse effect and what do you mean by climate change, global warming, climate change, and impacts of climate change, what you have seen right now. So I was explaining here that greenhouse effect, like what I've written on the whiteboard. What is greenhouse effect? It refers to the trapping of heat of outgoing long wavelength infrared radiation by greenhouse gases present in the atmosphere. Now, which are greenhouse gases? So, if you look at the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the examples of greenhouse gases, right, found in the atmosphere which contribute, the most potential one is here carbon dioxide gas. If you look in the modern times, after industrial revolution in Europe, right, the burning of fossil fuel, coal, hydrocarbons, they have contributed higher concentration of carbon dioxide gas into the upper atmosphere, and that's the greenhouse effect there. So if we take here the examples here, so that is carbon dioxide gas, right, is the greenhouse gas. Then comes here methane. Methane is, you know that, methane is emitted from agricultural land. Methane is emitted from anaerobic condition there. Then comes here nitrous oxide, which is also called laughing gas, nitrous oxide. Then there is another gas, sulfur hexafluoride, is a greenhouse gas. Apart from sulfur hexafluoride, chlorofluorocarbon, hydrofluorocarbon. Today, under Vienna Convention, we have replaced CFC from the domestic use. Montreal Protocol, domestic use of CFC has been removed from domestic use. But again, HFC, hydrofluorocarbon, what we are using, there it is potential greenhouse gas. Then perfluorocarbon, even ozone, ground level ozone is a greenhouse gas, plus water vapor, right? Water vapor found in the atmosphere also trap the outgoing heat and can cause warming, right? That is where I have given here. Now, what is another aspect here? Different gases have got different global warming potential. Let us first understand what do you mean by global warming. Now, second term I am writing here, global warming. because of greenhouse effect, what happens, the long infrared radiation, they come back to the earth, and then the earth again absorbs the heat, and slowly and steadily there is increase in temperature. So here global warming, here it refers to slow and gradual and slow rise in temperature, rise in average temperature. Is not, it may be some place higher temperature, but average all over the geographical area of continents and oceans of the earth. So here average temperature of earth's surface, which include both continent and ocean, right? So what is global warming? Global warming refers to increase, slow and gradual increase, rise in temperature of earth's surface, average temperature increase, which is distributed over the entire landmass, entire continents, entire water bodies, oceans, right? That is caused because of the greenhouse effect of the gases in the atmosphere. So what I've written here, it refers to slow and gradual rise in average temperature of Earth's surface due to greenhouse effect. Due to greenhouse effect caused by greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Caused by greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Please write along with me. Whatever I am writing on the board, please go along with me. I am explaining also, I am writing the points also there. So that is where called as the global warming. Now different types of greenhouse gases have got different global warming potential. So there is a term called as here global warming potential, GWP. Global warming potential. Different greenhouse gases have got different potential to cause warming of the earth, right? So global warming potential, this is a parameter which is used by scientists to assess how much a greenhouse gas can contribute to global warming and climate change. Now global warming potential, GWP, right, GWP for a greenhouse gas is compared with respect to carbon dioxide gas. It is compared with respect to carbon dioxide gas. Let's understand here. GWP, global warming potential, that is calculated over a time period. Normally scientists take in the atmosphere concentration of greenhouse gases for 100 years time frame. Let's say for 100 years. For 100 years residence time of the gases in the atmosphere. Right? In the bracket I have written for 100 years. If we do the calculation for 100 years, residence time of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, so global warming potential is obtained by global warming. This is obtained by global warming caused by 1 ton of this gas. Let's say whichever gas you are studying, 1 ton of the greenhouse gas, whether it's a methane or carbon dioxide or nitrous oxide, sulfur hexafluoride, divided with, compared with the carbon dioxide. So here global warming, equivalent global warming or global warming caused by 1 ton of carbon dioxide. Let me again explain. What is the meaning of the term global warming potential? When we do the calculation of any greenhouse gas in the upper atmosphere, right, over a time period of 100 years. So global warming potential is given by global warming caused by 1 ton of that greenhouse gas divided by global warming caused by 1 ton of carbon dioxide. 1 ton of carbon dioxide gas. Right? How much 1 ton of CO2 gas will cause the warming? Right? Carbon dioxide gas. So let's say for example here if you take global warming potential, right, if you take here global warming potential, right, of carbon dioxide. So 1 ton of carbon dioxide, warming caused by 1 ton of carbon dioxide divided by warming caused by 1 ton of CO2. So it will get a number 1. So global warming potential for 100 years for carbon dioxide. So that is a reference. It will come out to be 1. Now let's take for example global warming potential for methane gas. If we take 1 ton of methane gas, warming caused by 1 ton of methane gas in the atmosphere divided by warming caused by 1 ton of carbon dioxide gas. So methane gas can cause around 28 times, right? 28 times as compared to the carbon dioxide. Now if we compare with the global warming potential of nitrous oxide, N2O, nitrous oxide. Now nitrous oxide will cause around 198 times more warming than carbon dioxide. 198 times, almost around 200 times. And if we do the calculation of global warming potential of hydrofluorocarbon, today we are using in refrigeration hydrofluorocarbon, so that will come around 14,800. Imagine that hydrofluorocarbon, if 1 ton of HFC go to the atmosphere, it will have thousands of times more warming as compared to 1 ton of carbon dioxide. That as compared to 1 ton of carbon dioxide, it will have 1,000 times more warming there. It will have 1,000 times more warming. What I've written here, hydrofluorocarbon will have 1,000 times, 14,800 times more warming than 1 ton of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is taken as a standard, right? Methane, around 28 to 32 times will be caused by the methane, right? So please write this one. Now after this I'll come to climate change impacts, and we'll come to UNFCCC, Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreement. So but first write all this one. Please copy the points there. What I've written on the whiteboard, please do copy that. If you have copied, please mention in the response that you have copied it, so that I will move to the next topic. We'll discuss about climate change. Is it copied by everyone? Any problem in terms of understanding global warming potential? Yes, guys. Any doubt you have, or shall I move ahead? Have you all copied it? Then I'll clean the whiteboard. Then I'll go to the climate change impacts. Batch coordinator, please open the response chat. I want to see the response there of the student, because I need to move fast. That's what I need to cover the topic. So that's what. Is it clear here? Greenhouse effect, global warming, increase in Earth's temperature, and now the problem is because of the carbon dioxide gas, which has increased 400 ppm, more than 400 ppm parts per million, right? But again, the other gases, nitrous oxide, methane gas, all these are causing the problem in terms of warming there, and it is calculated using the term what is called global warming potential, GWP. which is compared in terms of carbon dioxide, the global warming caused by 1 ton of the greenhouse gas, for which we are doing the calculation, divided by global warming caused by 1 ton of carbon dioxide. So for carbon dioxide, the GWP will be 1, and we can compare with the other gases like methane for 100 years 28 to 32 times, for nitrous oxide 198 to 200 times, for hydrofluorocarbon 14,800. That is where the hydrofluorocarbons are more dangerous. They are the more dangerous one. Anyway, I'll clean the whiteboard. Let us go to the next part of it. So now let's understand climate change. Now we'll understand the word climate change and the climate change impacts. And now we are going to the term of climate change. So now climate change. See, climate change is linked with the global warming. Right? What is climate? Climate is over a long range. Climate happens through a long time, 20 years, 30 years time frame. Weather is a short term. Climate is a long term. Pressure, wind movement, ocean current, right, rainfall, all these are climatic conditions. So climate change here, that is here. What is the meaning of climate change? I'll write here in the bracket here. So it refers to changes in climatic condition. And there is a changes in climatic conditions caused climatic conditions such as, let's say, let me give you examples such as pressure, right, wind, rainfall, etc. caused, this is happens because of the temperature, caused due to global warming. So global warming contributes to changes in climatic conditions, what we call as climate change. Okay, I'm stopping there. Can you all hear me? I was talking to the technical team. I was talking to technical team and the batch coordinator that whether you are able to hear me or not. Okay, is all right. Thank you. So I was just trying to talk to the people to get the audio, the mic things corrected there. I think you can now manage with the sound there. All right. So I'll continue with the topic then. All right. Okay. Thank you all. So what I was saying here, climate change. When we say climate change refers to the changes in climatic conditions like wind, ocean circulation, right, temperature. Temperature is a critical factor which determines the pressure, atmospheric pressure, pressure of the wind movement, rainfall. All things are determined based on the temperature factor, right? So temperature rise, which can happen because of the warming, which can happen because of the global warming, right? So there we have to understand because of change in temperature, because of increase in temperature of Earth's surface, will have effect on the pressure, wind, rainfall, and what are impacts will be there. That's where the climate change comes into that. What you have seen in the documentary also, National Geography documentary, you have seen that. So here cause, what I have given a definition here, it refers to changes in climatic conditions such as pressure, wind, rainfall, etc. caused due to global warming, and global warming is caused because of the greenhouse effect caused by greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Now what happens here? Climate change impact. The impacts of climate change, right? Impact caused by climate change. So there are number of scientific reports which talk about various type of impacts caused by climate change. Now what are those here? Let me go into each of the impact there. The first impact what comes here, extreme weather events. Extreme weather events. Those weather events which are extreme level. Because of more temperature, they have the effect of extreme weather events. Now what all things are extreme weather events? For example, let's say for example, heat wave. In the summer you will find that the rising temperature, there is heat waves. Like Europe was under the grip of heat wave. Then you know that India, right, every year, right, gets impacted by tropical cyclone in Arabian Sea, Arab Sea, and also in Bay of Bengal. So here tropical cyclones. Tropical cyclone, hurricane, tornado, right, all these kind of events are linked with the climate change. Then excessive rain, flood, drought and famine, like dry condition, drought, famine. Even the wildfire, we have discussed in the biodiversity topic, wildfire. All these type of extreme weather events, they impact badly. So one first such scientific report, like there is one body called as IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. IPCC report, I write here based on the IPCC report. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports on climate change, which has a scientific report on the climate change. Now this report brings comprehensive impacts of climate change and their extreme weather event. The first part which I have written. Second impact, even India is also impacted by all such kind of climate change impact. Second is the melting of Himalayan glaciers and also polar ice, Antarctica, South Pole, the melting of ice, Arctic, right, North Pole, the melting of snow and ice. So cryosphere, there is a word called cryosphere. Cryo means extremely low temperature, right? So here, sea level rise, sea level rise, right, sea level rise caused by melting of mountain glaciers, melting of mountain glaciers and polar ice cap like Arctic and Antarctica. So that large amount of water which goes to the ocean and slowly the rise of sea level rise. Now when there will be sea level rise, coastal areas will be impacted. Submergence of coastal areas, submergence of island, submergence of metro cities which are coastal cities. Let's say in India, Mumbai, Chennai, these are coastal cities, right? So here, so this is sea level rise, SLR. Now sea level rise has a direct impact on the coastal areas and islands will get impacted there, right? So here impacts, sea level rise will impacts coastal areas, impact coastal areas and islands. Let's say Fiji, Maldives, Fiji, right, Tuvalu, these are small island states. They are almost on the sea level, and because of rising sea level, they will get submerged. So here impacts on coastal areas and islands, small islands there, right? They will be forced to migrate from their place, from the coastal areas inside there, right? Then comes here, next one here, biodiversity loss to biodiversity and ecosystem loss. Biodiversity and ecosystem loss caused because of climate change impact. Now what are the impacts of biodiversity loss here? Let's say for example, coral bleaching. When the algae which live inside the coral polyp get separate from the coral, so there will be direct impact on the coral will die, and the death of the coral, the entire coral reef ecosystem gets impacted, right? So marine food web get impacted, coral bleaching. Great Barrier Reef in Australia is in now danger because of the climate change impact. Then what comes here? Extinction of species. climate change is deriving extinction of species because migratory pattern of birds, turtles, tortoise, fishes, their migration path that gets affected. Change of season, the bird migrate from one habitat to another. Now if there is a dramatic change on the seasons, the direct impact will be on the birds, right? So here extinction of species, it is said that Earth is now going to the 6th mass extinction. Earth is moving towards 6th mass extinction. The climate change impacts on this, right? Then loss of wetlands. We have discussed about wetlands there, loss of wetlands and wetland species there. Then impacts on forest, wildfire and all, bushfire in Australia. So impacts on forest, impacts of wildfire. So that will affect the wildfire, will affect the entire forest ecosystem. Right? Then again, another very important which I would like to add here in terms of the impact, that is the health impact, agriculture impact, livelihood impact, right? So what we can say here, the next is the health impact. Many people die because of heat waves. The number of deaths caused because of the cyclone. Because of the temperature and the extreme condition, there can be direct impact on human health. Waterborne disease, coastal areas which get flooded, right? High water rise, sea level rise. So their waterborne diseases will spread, right? So here waterborne disease, like for example, spread of waterborne disease, spread of waterborne diseases, let's say malaria or such kind of diseases. Now what will happen? Because of the climate change, the wild animals which have viruses, they will come out of the forest and there will be more human animal contact, and such wild animals with those kind of viruses will come in contact with humans. Let's take example of COVID-19, right? And man animal contact. Again, that can be a part of this health. New type of viruses, there may be also study where new type of viruses are getting evolved because of the global warming climate change effect, right? So here borne diseases, new pathogens, new diseases, new pathogens, right? Health impact. All right. Apart from health impact, what can be more? Agriculture impact, flood, drought, famine. And agriculture impact will again lead to impact on food security. India is a monsoon country. India depends on monsoon. If the monsoon get affected, our crops will get affected. And you know that prime occupation of people of India is agriculture. So here impacts on agriculture. Impacts on agriculture and food security. What I've written the point here, impacts on agriculture and food security. Now because of such impacts, people are forced to migrate from their place. Now what is coming here, there is a rising number of climate refugees. There are refugees which are because of ethnic violence, war, conflict. Now there are refugees because of impacts of climate change, right? So here increasing, what is happening here? There is increasing number of climate refugees there. UN is looking into this particular problems because of the people have to be forced migrate from their place, native place to somewhere else to protect themselves and livelihood part of it. So forced migration because of the climate change impact. So what I'm writing here, increasing number of climate change refugees, climate change impacted refugees. It is said that climate change, science of climate change is very certain. It's coming out with the report which has the conclusive evidence that this is taking place worldwide. Number of reports have brought that, right? So I'm trying to just bring about the highlights in a flowchart form there, right? Zoonotic disease, yes, very true. Zoonotic disease. You can also write here. From man-animal conflict, I am writing here. Zoonotic disease, very good. Which is spread from animals to humans. Yes, very right. Ebola virus, swine flu, all these are there, right? So this is all what is happening there, right? Which is happening in terms of the part of it, right? So please write that, please go along with my class. Whatever I am teaching there, if you go along with that, then we will be able to complete on time, so that you will be free, right? So please keep on writing along with that, whatever flowchart diagram I am making that. So there is a UN body called IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. I have written the bracket here, IPCC reports on climate change, right? COVID is a zoonotic disease. COVID has come from animals to humans. But we cannot say with surety that the COVID is because of climate change. COVID-19 is a zoonotic disease. The scientist says that from animals, from bat and animals in China, right, from the wet market or animal market, it has come to human beings. Still, it is a debatable whether the climate change has been a factor of that, right? All right, guys. So now let's come to here. The climate change impacts and all this. Now let's understand global aspect on that. So what global aspect the steps have been taken to fight climate change. The initiative which has been taken to fight climate change at the international level. Let us now come to that part of it. So at the international level, there is a very important treaty called UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UN convention there, right, which has come out with that. And all this in context of that, right, it's become very, very important to understand here. So let me now come to this part of it. In terms of the report here, that is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports, right, which is a UN body. Let us now bring into that, and I'll connect with this international development part of it. So let us understand here. There is an organization called as IPCC. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Right, IPCC, which come out with all the reports here. Now, what are the points here? I'll change the marker here. IPCC is a UN body, right? So IPCC, first point is that it's called intergovernmental. What is the word here? Intergovernmental, formed by governments, right? So IPCC was established in 1988. I've underlined the year. IPCC as a UN body was set up in the year 1988 by a resolution passed by the United Nations General Assembly, by the UN General Assembly. By the UN General Assembly, there was a resolution passed by the UN General Assembly in the year 1988. There was a General Assembly resolution passed to form this body called IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and it was set up, right? It was established, right? IPCC was formed with support of two organizations, with support of United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, and there is another very important UN organization called WMO, World Meteorological Organization, WMO, World Meteorological Organization. So in the year 1988, IPCC was set up with the support of the UNEP and WMO, World Meteorological Organization, and UNEP, right? And it was formed by the resolution passed by the General Assembly. Now what is another thing here? What is the objective? What is the aim? What is the task? What is the mandate of IPCC? So here the objective of making a IPCC was that to bring about to bring about assessment report. To bring about assessment report, right, on climate change. Thousands of scientists worldwide, they contribute in making the reports of IPCC. So to bring about assessment report, what is called AR, it is called as a AR, a comprehensive report. To bring about assessment report of climate change by thousands of scientists who work worldwide, right, who are working in the field of climate science. Thousands of scientists worldwide, right. So bringing assessment report on climate change by thousands of scientists worldwide on climate change impacts. On climate change impacts which goes to the governments, to the UN member countries, UN member countries governments. Such report goes to UN member countries governments, let's say India, Japan, China, Africa, whichever countries are there, right? South Africa, Brazil and all this, US, Australia, Canada, whichever developed and developing countries are there. So here scientists worldwide on climate change impact, which goes, this kind of report goes to the UN member countries governments. The government look into what are the impacts of climate change. What I have given some of the summarized main points, right? Based on the impact, the government can take action to fight climate change, right? That's where the role of IPCC comes into that. Now, as of now, IPCC has brought 5 reports. There are 5 assessment reports, right? And from time to time, IPCC also brings about thematic report based on specialized report and specialized report, special reports. Now there are recently three special reports brought by the IPCC: Cryosphere Island and all, land and the climate change, right? And then in terms of climate change, the impacts, right? 1.5 C, to keep the temperature of the earth at 1.5 C. What will happen if temperature goes beyond 1.5 C, 1.5 degrees Celsius, based on pre-industrial level, right? So such reports, special reports are there. Now this 5 assessment report, right? I'll just write the year which was brought there. 1990, the first report was brought. Then after that, 1995, second report was brought. Then in the year 2001, third report came. Then 2007, fourth report came, and the last one was 2013 and 14. These are the years when the assessment report, comprehensive reports were brought there. And WMO, World Meteorological Organization, that is the full form of WMO there, what I've written there. Now here, IPCC, it played very important role in terms of taking the action, global action on climate change. So here is a scientific governing body too. IPCC is a scientific governing body. Is a scientific governing body to a very important convention, to the United Nations UN Framework Convention. There is a treaty on which climate change action worldwide, the action is taken. So it is a scientific governing body. IPCC is provides scientific reports. This scientific reports on what is happening with climate change. The scientific governing body to the UN Framework Convention on climate change. This is called as a UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, right? So United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, it is an international treaty which looks into climate change. I will come to the whiteboard, I'll give you the point. So IPCC provide all the scientific input to the convention, UNFCCC. So please write this one. Then I'll come to UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and we'll study now Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreement. I'll come to Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. Please copy this, what I've written on the whiteboard about IPCC there. WMO stands for World Meteorological Organization. Please write along with me so that you are able to cover topics. Alright guys, so I'll clean the whiteboard now. Now what I'm coming here, let us understand the convention. Let us understand UNFCCC convention, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Let us now come to that, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So UNFCCC, that's the international framework here. Right? United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Right? Now let's understand. I'll go slowly. I'll not rush through. I'll go slowly, so that you are able to understand and you are able to write the points also there. Now let's see UNFCCC. So this convention, it was proposed, adopted during Rio Earth Summit. Rio Conference, United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, which is called Rio Earth Summit. So this convention was proposed during the Rio Conference, UN Conference on Environment and Development, Rio Earth Summit, right? So adopted during Rio Earth Summit, held in 1992, right? This is the very important convention which has been brought there under the Sustainable Development Agenda, right? It is also under Agenda 21. This convention, right, also under Agenda 21. What is Agenda 21? It is a blueprint of sustainable development in 21st century. 21 refers to 21st century, where we are living right now. So during Rio Summit, there was a document, there's a document called Agenda 21, Initiatives of Sustainable Development. And under this biodiversity, CBD, we have discussed 2 class back UNCCD, last class UNCCD, United Nations Convention on Desertification, again Agenda 21. Climate Change Initiative, again Agenda 21, right? That comes into that. So Agenda 21, the Agenda 21 part of it, right? Now under Agenda 21 here, Climate Change Initiative, which has been brought there. It was during Rio Earth Summit, 1982 it was proposed. India is also a member country of UNFCCC. We have also joined and ratified this convention. Now what is the objective here? What is the aim? Objectives of this convention. This convention has got following objectives. The first objective is that to limit temperature rise of Earth's surface, to limit temperature rise of Earth's surface caused because of global warming, climate change, below 2 degrees Celsius. Below 2 degrees Celsius, right, as compared to pre-industrial level, as compared to pre-industrial revolution. In Europe, this industrial revolution, right, 1870, that 1870, that time frame. If we take the temperature of Earth in 1870 and now we take 2020, so and we take the framework to the next 80 years, 2000, the end of 21st century, the temperature, global temperature of Earth should not go more than 2 degrees Celsius. So what comes here? To limit temperature rise of Earth's surface below 2 degrees Celsius as compared to pre-industrial level at the end of 21st century. By the end of 2100, temperature of Earth's surface as compared to 1870 industrial revolution time, that time, should not have gone more than 2 degrees Celsius. In comparison to that year, it should not go more. Right? So here, the first is that to keep the temperature below 2 degrees Celsius. And how this will possible? How we are able to limit the temperature below 2 degrees Celsius? What is the cause of rise of temperature? Global warming. And what causes global warming? Greenhouse effect. Why greenhouse effect? Because of carbon dioxide, methane, all such gases going to the atmosphere. So what we call carbon emission. What do you call the term? Carbon emission. Reducing carbon emission. So this is only possible through reduction of carbon emission. So what it called, second point comes here, in terms of development to implement, to bring about. Here, what is called mitigation. Mitigation means reduce the impact of climate change. How we are going to reduce the impacts of climate change, sea level rise or cyclone or any extreme event, how we are going to reduce the impacts. So here, mitigation and adaptation. Whatever the changes are taking place, how we are going to adapt strategies. Countries should work together to develop strategies for mitigation, reducing the impacts of climate change, as well as adaptation to the changes in climatic condition. Right? So mitigation adaptation strategies, development and implementation. Worldwide at the global scale. Agriculture being impacted. How we can make agriculture resilient to climate change impact. How does the climate change impact on the coastal communities? How the coastal communities can become resilient to the impact of cyclone or sea level rise. So again, mitigation adaptation strategies. Right? Now what is third here? Now third aspect is that climate change today is because of greenhouse gas emission, what we call carbon emissions, and that has been because of the developed industrialized countries. Industrialized countries like USA, European countries, Australia, Canada, all these big industrialized countries, they have contributed industrial revolution, led to the more rise of greenhouse gases. Even today, they are again emitting more. This should be the first to give the finance, technology to developing countries, third world countries, least developed countries to fight climate change. So what is third objective here? That is here, financial and technology, even the technology there, technology, right, assistance, right, support provided by developed industrialized countries, Now under the convention, such developed industrialized countries are called Annex 1. They are called Annexure 1. Annex 1 countries. You will come across the word Annex 1 countries. They are the European countries and America, and all these are Annex 1 countries. So here, financial and technology assistance, right, provided by developed industrialized countries, in bracket I have written Annex 1 countries, to non-Annex 1 countries, to developing countries like India, Brazil, China. So these are the part of developing countries. To developing countries, right, they are called non-Annex 1 countries. They are referred to as non-Annex 1 countries. What is the third objective here? That developed countries should take the burden to provide more finance to fight climate change. provide technology, clean technology, green technology to developing countries, non-Annex 1 countries, right? Now what is the fourth aspect here? Apart from this objective, what I'm now coming here is that there are two agreements for which this convention UNFCCC is remembered. In the past, there is a Kyoto Protocol, Kyoto in Japan, Kyoto Protocol, and second what comes here, Paris Agreement. So here, two agreements, right? Two agreements which have been brought under this conventions. Convention was that first was Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol, which was a legally binding agreement. Kyoto Protocol, right? It was adopted, it was proposed. It was proposed in the year 1997, Kyoto in Japan, and was ratified. That means was accepted, ratified in 2005. And the second agreement, which you all are aware, Paris Agreement. Paris in France, Paris Summit in 2015, what is called COP21, Conference of Parties. Every convention has got COP. Conference of Parties is the governing body which take all decisions with respect to the convention. So 21st meeting of the Conference of Parties in France in 2015, Paris Agreement was brought. So Paris Agreement was proposed. It was proposed in the year 2015 and got ratified in just 1 year. Ratified in 2016. But when it was implemented, Paris Agreement has been implemented post 2020. After 2020, the Paris Agreement has now started. Kyoto is now over. Kyoto Protocol is now gone. Now the current agreement is the Paris Agreement. We'll see that Paris Agreement. What all things are there in the Paris Agreement. We'll see that. So what I've written here, the two agreements under this convention, Kyoto Protocol, which was proposed in the year 1997 in Japan and ratified in 2005, and second is Paris Agreement, proposed in the year 2015 in France and ratified in 2016. Please write all this. Now I'll give you difference between Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. We are going to learn now difference between Kyoto Protocol, which was there till 2020, and now the present one, Paris Agreement. I'll give you all the highlights. Please write, see all whatever I'm writing on the whiteboard. These are all your class notes. Before the exam, you can quickly revise your class notes. What I'm writing on the board here. And please respond also there, because based on your response, I can move there. It's a very, very important topic I'm discussing in the classroom. And we'll see the difference of Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. I'm going to discuss that. Last I've written here two agreements, right? That is called here Paris Agreement, proposed in 2015 and ratified in 2016. I'll give you more now. I'll make a tabular form. I'll make a tabular form to give the difference of Kyoto and Paris. Alright. So now let's understand here. So this under this convention, let's understand here the difference between Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. The difference between the Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. So I'll make in a tabular form. I'm making a tabular form the difference between the two agreements, right? So first is the Kyoto Protocol. In short, I can write KP, right? I'll change the marker also there. And second is the Paris Agreement. Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. Right? Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement, the differences. Now let's understand the differences here. So what are the differences here? Let's see that. I am changing the marker here. See here, first one. Kyoto Protocol, KP, as I said, was proposed in 1997 during a conference in Japan. It was ratified by governments in 2005 and implemented. When this was implemented from 2008 till 2020. Now Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement was, I mentioned that, proposed in 2015, COP21, ratified in 2016, just in 1 year it got ratified by the governments and implemented. Kyoto is over by 2020. Now after 2020, present time is the Paris Agreement. So implemented from post 2020 onward. Right? Please keep on writing along with me. Number 2. Second difference. Protocol agreement. Kyoto Protocol is a legally binding agreement. If any government does not follow, there will be a punishment in terms of fine. Fine has to be paid. Now it is expired. Now 2020 is over now. So what is here? Kyoto Protocol. KP was legally binding agreement. To reduce carbon emission. Right? Kyoto Protocol was legally binding agreement to reduce carbon emissions by Annex 1 countries. What are Annex 1 countries? I have just mentioned that Annex 1 countries are developed industrialized countries. Developed industrialized countries, they are called Annex 1 countries. So Kyoto Protocol was legally binding agreement to reduce carbon emissions by Annex 1 bracket developed industrialized countries only, who were given targets, right? Targets based on 1990 emission level. In the year 1990, whatever the carbon emission, greenhouse gas emission was taking place by these countries, 1990 में जितना कार्बन एमिशन या ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशन ये अनेक्स 1 कंट्रीज में हो रहा था, ऑल दिस डेवलप्ड इंडस्ट्रियलाइज्ड कंट्रीज में हो रहा था, तो 1990 was emission was taken as a benchmark standard in the Kyoto Protocol case, and legally binding targets were given only to industrialized countries, not to developing countries, not to India, China, Brazil, nothing. Only it was a target to the developed countries, right? So what I have written here, KP was legally binding agreement to reduce greenhouse gases, carbon emissions by Annex 1 bracket developed industrialized countries only. I have written the word only, who were given targets based on 1990 emission level. Whereas Paris Agreement, now you see here, I am not giving you differences there. This you will not find, right? That's what the classroom discussion becomes very important. And please do copy this. Now compare the Paris Agreement here. Now what is Paris Agreement? Paris Agreement is based on, based on, I'm writing a very important word here, intended nationally determined contribution. Intended nationally determined contribution. 2016 prelims exam, there was a direct question that INDC, intended nationally determined contribution, seen in the news is what? That is in terms of climate change initiative. So what is here? Paris Agreement is based on intended nationally determined contributions. What is called INDC? It is called as the INDC. I'll make you understand here. INDC. Paris Agreement is based on intended nationally determined contributions. Now in Paris Agreement what was happened? All the governments were asked. Annex 1 industrialized countries, non-annex 1 developing countries. UN asked them, बताओ कितना emission cut करेंगे आप? Tell the body that how much you are going to take the commitment, how much you are going to take the contribution, how much you are going to cut down the carbon emission, how much you are going to reduce emissions. Countries were asked and they submitted their INDC. India said by 33 to 35% will cut down the emission by 2030. Every country submitted that this much we want to contribute. Intention to contribute fighting climate change. So Paris Agreement is based on intended nationally determined contribution, INDC, right? Submitted by both developed countries, what is called Annex 1 countries, as well as non-Annex 1 countries. What are non-Annex 1 countries? Non-Annex 1 countries, that is a developing countries. Where India and all comes into non-Annex 1 countries. Paris Agreement is based on intended nationally determined contribution submitted by both developed Annex 1 countries as well as non-Annex 1 countries, developing countries, based on here emissions, based on 2005 emission levels. Now let's understand here. Kyoto Protocol is a top-down. What is top-down? All Annex 1 countries, developed industrial countries under Kyoto Protocol was said, look, you have to cut down. There is no way out. You have to reduce the emission. Top-down. Whereas here, Paris Agreement, on the other hand, Paris Agreement, countries were asked to tell how much you want to contribute. Bottom up. Kyoto Protocol में इनको कहा गया कि आपको कट डाउन करना ही करना है. टॉप डाउन अप्रोच है वो, नहीं तो फाइन देना होगा. जबकि पेरिस एग्रीमेंट में बॉटम अप अप्रोच है. कंट्रीज को पूछा गया बताओ आप कितना करना चाहते हो, हाउ मच यू वांट टू कंट्रीब्यूट, वॉट एवर यू विल से वी विल एक्सेप्ट दैट. बॉटम अप अप्रोच. हियर ओनली डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज, हियर बोथ डेवलप्ड एंड डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज. आई एम गिविंग क्लियर डिफरेंसेस between both the agreements. So here it is a top-down approach. Whereas this is the bottom-up approach. Right? Top-down approach, bottom-down, bottom approach there. Now here two commitment periods were there. Up to 2020 it has to be done there. Now what is the third point here? Climate finance. finance. Developed countries giving finance to developing countries under Kyoto Protocol. So under the here Kyoto Protocol, there was a fund called as a Green Climate Fund. What is called here? Green Climate Fund. It is called GCF. World Bank. It comes under the World Bank. Green Climate Fund was set up. GCF, Green Climate Fund, which is supervised by the World Bank. Under which one? Kyoto Protocol. So Green Climate Fund, GCF, right. So Annex 1 countries to provide $100 billion, 100 billion US dollar to non-Annex 1 countries. What are non-Annex 1 countries? Non-Annex 1 countries are developing countries. Whereas here, Paris Agreement, 2020 Kyoto Protocol is over. Now in 2000, after 2020, Paris Agreement has started. Now in Paris Agreement, more finance has been committed by Annex 1 country, developed countries to developing countries, non-Annex 1 countries. So here, additional finance of 100 billion, additional finance of 100 billion US dollar a year from 2021, this year, from 2021 till 2025. Under Paris Agreement, how much? What is the commitment here? That 100 billion US dollar every year, per year, a year, from 2021 till 2025. So that is $500 billion. Whereas of Kyoto Protocol, it was 100 billion US dollar till 2020. Now here, additional finance of 100 billion US dollar per year till from 2021 to 2025 by Annex 1 countries. To non-Annex 1 countries. Developed countries to developing countries. It also looks into clean technology, renewable energy. Like Paris Agreement focus on solar power, renewable energy, clean technology. So there's more finance. Paris Agreement has committed more finance as compared to Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol only 100 billion US dollar. But under Paris Agreement, there's more finance being channelized, more better technology being channelized. So after 2020, this Paris Agreement has started. Kyoto has expired. So I have clearly given you the difference between Kyoto and Paris. I'll just move away from the board. (2005) emission level means 2005 whatever the greenhouse gas was emitted, that was considered for giving the target. See, 2005 is just a reference here, is a benchmark here. Emission reduction will be done in this year, but again it will be based on the reference year of 2005. Based on 2005 reference year, present time the emission will be cut down. Now please copy the whiteboard. This difference I have given, that what is the difference in Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. Now I will come to India's NDC. What India has committed. What India has committed, I'll come to that part. And what we are doing for climate change, we'll be coming to that. Have you all copied it? Alright guys, if you have copied, then I'll come to the whiteboard. There is a very important comparison. I have done a very important comparison between the two agreements here. Right? Now let's look at here. What India has done, the commitment under Paris Agreement. Let's look into that and how we are fighting the climate change here. What initiative India has taken in terms of fighting the climate change here. Now look at here, India's INDC. See, in Kyoto, it was only to developed countries. India didn't have any commitment under Kyoto Protocol. But under Paris Agreement, India has got the commitment there. Now let's understand what India has committed under Paris Agreement. What is INDC? Intended National Development Contribution. Now what is India's contribution? I'll bring the point wise here. The first one is that India has committed that there will be reduction of carbon emission, will cut down the carbon emission, right? So here reduction of carbon emission that is the greenhouse gases, right? In comparison to the 2005, like the here reduction of carbon emission based on GDP level of 2005, right? So here reduction of so let me write here 33 to 35%, 33% to 35% reduction, right? 33 to 35% reduction of carbon emissions like greenhouse gas emission, right? Based on GDP level of 2000, right? 2005 GDP level, right? From 2000 here, based on GDP level of 2005, from 2021, we will start from this year till 2030. India will cut down carbon emission 2005, the year 2005, based on GDP, gross domestic product. What is GDP? Total national income. Agriculture, industry, transport, power generation, all the sectors. How much greenhouse gases we were generating? How much carbon emission was there? Let's say if it is 1000 ton. Let's suppose it is 1000 tons. India has said under Paris Agreement that 33 to 35%, that means 330 ton to 350 tons of greenhouse gas reduction will be done by India by the end of 2030. 2005 में जो हमारा जीडीपी का स्तर था और जितना हम एमिशन कर रहे थे, लेट्स सपोज कि 1000 टन एमिशन कर रहे थे, तो इंडिया पेरिस एग्रीमेंट में ये कमिट कर रहा है कि 30 तक में 2030 तक में 10 साल में 33-35% हम कट डाउन करेंगे, will reduce by 30-35% that amount of greenhouse gases, right? Second, number 2, second is that 40% cumulative power generation, 40% cumulative power generation, that is electricity. Today, maximum power generation in India is by the coal-based fire power plant, coal-fired power plant, thermal power plant. So what India is committing under Paris Agreement, that 40% additional, cumulative means additional power generation from non-fossil fuel. Because burning of fossil fuel can contribute carbon emission. Non-fossil fuel. What does that mean? That is a renewable energy. Solar power, wind power, right? Already we have a target. By 2022, we have a target of 175 gigawatt, 100 gigawatt solar power, 60 gigawatt wind power, 10 gigawatt biomass power, and 5 gigawatt small hydropower. And by 2030, we have a target of 450 gigawatt. Target of 450 gigawatt by 2030. Present target we have got 175 by 2022 and will scale up to 450 gigawatt by 2030. Solar, wind, all the renewable energy program. Now third one. The third point is that carbon sink, carbon absorption, carbon sequestration by trees and plants and forests. We have studied in ecology area that green plants or trees, they are able to capture carbon dioxide gas in photosynthesis and convert into carbohydrate. So carbon capture through forest. 2.5 tons. What is here? Third point here. 2.5 right, gigaton. 2.5 to 3 gigatons of carbon capture by tree and forest cover. By tree and forest cover. We'll do more plantation of trees, afforestation, protection of forest, so that more and more carbon dioxide can be captured. India has come out with a program called National RED Plus, REDD Plus. What is REDD? Reducing emission from deforestation and forest degradation, where we can get finance fund to take up more carbon dioxide through trees and forestry. We have a program called Green India Mission, afforestation. And you know the target, what is the target of India? We are now having 24% of tree and forest cover. India is targeting for 33% of total geographical area. 33% total geographical area covered with trees and forest. Additional capture by trees and plants. Then here, there is a technology here, clean technology framework and finance. Will get finance from next one countries, developed countries, but at the same time we'll also try to develop clean technology in India, technology framework and finance, right? Then here, sustainable lifestyle in terms of production and consumption. India will move to sustainable growth path, sustainable lifestyle. We should not emit more carbon emission. Public transport. Let's say public transport. We can use CNG. We can go for electric vehicle. Non-fossil fuel based. Lifestyle. Metro. Public transport metro. During COVID-19 pandemic, the things have changed. But I'm giving the what India has committed there under the Paris Agreement. Right? Apart from this, what I've written here, 5 points. India has got another very important initiative to fight climate change, that is a NAPCC, National Action Plan on Climate Change. We have 8 missions. In terms of fighting climate change at national level, we have 8 missions. What is called NAPCC, National Action Plan on Climate Change. So please write this one, then I'll come to NAPCC. Okay, GDP level I'll make you understand. I don't know whether in your batch economy has been done or not. I don't know which subject has been done, whether you have covered economy or not. GDP here means total income, total national income, right, earned by a country. Let's say in India in 1 year, how much total income, national income we get, gross domestic product, right? So let's say in 2005, income from agriculture sector, income from transport, income from power generation, income from industries, all total income, gross domestic product, GDP. All this income what we are getting, what does that mean? If we are earning something from industries, what does that mean? There is emission, carbon emission. For that income level, revenue, there has been emission there, right? So that amount of emission, agriculture, whatever revenue we have earned from agriculture, so in that agriculture part, how much carbon emission has taken place? So we will do the accounting of carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases emission, carbon emission from each of the sector, power generation, transport, agriculture, industry, tourism, based on that income level, and total amount of gases what we have contributed, what we have added. So India says that 33 to 35% will cut down, will reduce by some kind of government programs, policies, that kind of there, right? So that is where the GDP level comes there. I don't know whether in economy you have covered GDP or not. I'm not aware of your other subject in the class, but the part comes here. Please write this one. See, in your batch what has happened, your environment class there, right? Environment class which has started. So you have still many other subject to follow, which you have to contribute, which you have to connect with the environment subject. Now I'm coming to the last topic. I'm now coming to the last topic there. The last topic is that NAPCC, National Action Plan on Climate Change. Right? So the last topic I am coming here. As part of India's fight for climate change, that is a National Action Plan on Climate Change. National Action Plan on Climate Change. Now this program under Ministry of Environment Forest, right? It was started in 2008. This program was started in 2008. Now it has got 8 missions. Here there are 8 missions are there. The first mission is called here National Solar Mission, solar energy for that. Right, National Solar Mission. In terms of sunlight and solar mission, that comes there. Second here is called, is a mission program called as here National Mission on Enhanced Energy Efficiency, in terms of power saving, right? In terms of power saving and decreasing the demand for the power. National Mission on Enhanced Energy Efficiency. Third one here is a National Mission on Water, in terms of conservation of water, impact of water on agriculture. So there is a mission called National Mission on Water. Then here, National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture. Agriculture sector which is being impacted because of the climate change impact. So under this program for climate resilient crop, smart agriculture, climate resilient crop, right? Climate resilient crop, drought resistant varieties, flood resistant varieties, sustainable agriculture. That is another program there. Then here for forestry, there is a program called National Mission on Green India. That is on forestry. National Mission on Green India. Forestry program, Green India Mission program. Then another component of this one. Then comes here National Mission on Sustainable Habitat. In terms of green building, concept of carbon emission less, right, more efficient green building. So there is a National Mission on Sustainable Habitat. Urban areas, right? Climate friendly buildings. So there is a sustainable habitat mission there. Then comes here on Himalayan ecosystem. There is a Himalayan range. Let's say Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, all the Himalayan region. They are impacted by cloud burst. There is a cloud burst and impact on biodiversity, snow leopard and all. So for the Himalayan region, there is a separate component called National Mission on Sustainable Himalayan Ecosystem. Himalayan range is very much vulnerable to climate change impacts, right? So that's what the Himalayan ecosystem. There's a mission program. And the last one which comes here, that is to have a knowledge base in terms of what are the impacts of climate change in India? What are the climate change impact over India? How sea level rise affect Indian coastal areas? How cyclones are impacting the Odisha, Andhra Pradesh? All those scientific studies, right? All the scientific studies. For that there is a national mission on strategic knowledge on climate change. On strategic knowledge on climate change. What have written the mission name? National Mission on Strategic Knowledge on Climate Change. Research. How climate change impact India. Agriculture, forestry, coastal areas, all this one, scientific study. And making the reports. For that, National Mission on Sustainable, this strategic knowledge on climate change. So these are the 8 missions which were started in 2008 under the National Action Plan on Climate Change. Again, I'll tell you that this is all you are going to learn in detail in your current affairs classes. My task is just to go to the basic areas, make you understand. You can read the handout, the visionized handout, and then link with the current aspect on the policies and the programs, what I've written here. So this flowchart here. Please copy this flowchart here. I know that I have exceeded time. It's already now 8:30. Uh, I know that I'm doing torture on all of you. I understand that, but I have no way out. Right? Vision IAS provides me 12 classes for environment, but again, I requested for additional 3 classes. That's why today is the 15th class. And whatever the part of syllabus is there, I tried my level best to provide you from the syllabus point of view. You can understand, right? You try to understand from a teacher point of view. 12 classes are given to generally for environment to complete it, whether I would have taught or any other teacher would have taught. The topics which have been assigned to the teacher to teach in the classroom. But still, I asked for extra number of classes to at least go through all the basic areas, so that the students of this batch, at least they know the basic areas at least there. Right? Your class of environment was started because so that at least you have continuity on that. Right? So I have a humble request to each one of you. Please read all the topics which I have taught in the class. Plus, whatever topics are given in the Vision IAS materials, please go through it once. Please read it once. Right? Solve previous year question papers. And again, wait for your current affairs classes. There will be a monthly current affairs based on March, April, May, June, environment segment. You will cover from there. And before the prelims exam, again the entire 1 year compilation in the PT 365 document and the classes there. Again, all this climate change and all things will be revisited. Whatever I have taught will be revisited from current perspective. Right? So our relation was up to here only. I am feeling sad that at least till 15 classes I was there, but now I have to leave, and I don't know when we will meet each other. Given the pandemic, I think it is a very rare chance that we will meet again. Right? And you all have been very wonderful students. I love you all. And I miss you all. Right? I tried my level best to right from day one to go through the topics which are static area, the theory part, which you all can understand. Right? And I tried my level whatever to write the points on the whiteboard, whichever the bullet points or comprehensive points, if you have been following that, if you have been copying down there. Plus your Vision IAS material, what is provided to read on that. See, classroom program has a different type of thing. Content or material has a different thing there. And Vision IAS has a very different distinction. Regular batch for environment, this number of batch and the topics which are covered by a teacher, whoever teaches there, and your current affairs classes. And since you are a new batch, gradually your topics syllabus will be covered. You will become more and more comfortable. And see from the day one, you start from day one when I started teaching there. Start seeing this class video from day one, and see up to now how many topics you have gone through that. But again, those topics which I know will be covered in current affairs, I have left for the current affairs classes so that you can cover in current affairs classes. Right? So, your environment class is over. Right? Whatever have been assigned to me to teach, those topics, I have done it here. Right? And I am very glad, very happy to teach your batch. Right? I got this opportunity to teach your batch. And you all have been very wonderful students. Right from day one, being cooperative and being supporting the teacher. Right? So, jate, right? I want to clap for all of you. And I will miss you. I don't know in future whether we will meet or not. So in your batch, this is my last class. Alright? And I wish you all the best. You all are very good students, and I can tell you, you all can become civil servants. Your dreams will come true. Whatever guidance, whatever the path I have provided, the way of the preparation, please go through that. Right? If any time in between the process of I have been angry or something of that, so in that case, please neglect that. And I wish you all the best for your preparation part and your success. Right? Please make sure to read climate change topics, pollution topics from the current aspect. In the current affairs, you will cover a lot of topics there connected with this topic, but basic areas, climate change impact, IPCC report, UNFCCC, Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreement, India's INDC, NAPCC, I have just gone through that. Alright, I hope you all will follow that, and I wish all of you to qualify the prelims exam, write mains and clear the interview, and one day become civil servant. Alright, so from my heartiest kind of wish to all of you. Thank you everyone. Please take care, right, of your health during the COVID time, and please keep on preparing for the examination. Right, whatever doubts you have, you can keep on sending to batch coordinator. They will address that. They can even send it to me also, but please read first. I want all of you to first read the subject. Alright? So, Alvida. Thank you. Right? Thanks a lot. Take care. And I'll just give the last question of my batch, last assignment question. So I'm just giving the last question here. So the last question what I'm now giving here, the last assignment question, that is a discuss impacts of climate change on coastal areas. Mention briefly role of UNFCCC in fighting climate change. At global level. Answer 150 to 200 words. Ten marks. Discuss impacts of climate change on coastal areas. In general, I am giving here. Discuss the role of UNFCCC in fighting climate change at global level. Answer 150 to 200 words. 10 marks. So I thank here. I know that in your batch today is the last class, and I wish that if I could have got the other things, but at least whatever I have gone through it, at least whatever from my level the number of classes which I have got to teach. So maximum level I tried and provided you. Right? So I thank all of you, all blessings, and I wish you all the best. Right? Thank you everyone. Take care. Good night.